Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about a popular catchphrase and one that is especially important this month with National Women's History Month. We are going to be discussing how empowered women empower other women and how I've seen that play out in my life. Welcome to the podcast with Kilee Nickels. I made the unlikely transition from stay-at-home mom to CEO of a multi-million-dollar leading fashion brand. At Nickel & Suede, we empower the everyday woman to step into her story more boldly, one life-changing accessory at a time. The goal of this podcast is to inspire you through both my story and the stories of other powerhouse women to take that first step towards living the best version of your life. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and get ready to get started with Kilee Nickels. Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to the podcast. You are with Kilee Nickels, and today it's mid-March. We are so close to the first day of spring. I'm really excited about it. It's been an awesome month over here. Really glad to be celebrating National Women's History Month and International Women's Day. We just had that last week. And if you didn't get to tune into last week's episode, we had a really great guest that focuses on international women and women's health. And it was just such an awesome interview. So go back and listen to that if you haven't. And today I want to keep that conversation going, talking about women's empowerment. As a female founder, this is really important to me. And especially because our brand values are empowerment, optimism, style, and quality. So empowerment is really at the core of Nickel & Suede and our accessories. We create confidence-inspiring accessories that encourage you to make every day brave. And so what better month for me to talk about, what we believe in and how empowerment is central to our vision and to my personal life and why it's important to me. So, as we talk about empowerment, I feel like there's so many different ways that you can go with it. There's so many amazing definitions and ways that people go about talking about women's empowerment. But, I don't claim to be the expert on everything, but what I can always do is bring it back to me and my experiences. And for me, empowerment means to feel encouraged and supported and going after the best version of myself. So that means seeing other women be their best selves and then being inspired to do the same thing. I really do feel inspired when I have success at something that, I had a hard time with at first or it took time to get going. So having success makes me feel empowered. And I also feel really empowered when I see other women doing awesome things. And I think that's what this month is all about, is celebrating all the awesome things that women have done and what that means to help, women continue to do amazing things. One thing that I see on t-shirts, and it's really a trending saying, is empowered women empower women, which is awesome. And it sounds so good, but any phrase that gets really catchy and trendy, it kind of loses its meaning. You kind of forget what it means. And I think you have to really think about it in order to make it apply to your life anymore. Otherwise, it's just a fun hashtag. So I wanted to think about how that applies in my life. And when I was growing up, I've talked about this before, I was really reserved. I was really shy. I didn't try very many things. I was really proud of the things that I did try and that I succeeded at, but I didn't stick with very many things if they didn't, immediately catch on. So I was always trying to be my best. I was always, trying to learn new things and make lists of how could I be better? What other skills do I want to have and things? But they were very calculated lists and calculated I know I could do this and I know I could be better at this, so I'm going to do that. But there were a lot of things that I didn't do because I was afraid to do them and I was embarrassed and I really was worried about what other people thought of me. And, maybe it all kind of compounded on itself when I wouldn't try new things. Then I didn't have experience doing them, which meant I definitely didn't try them the next time. And so I was pretty reserved and I didn't quite know how to be me, fully me, comfortable with myself and around people. I took ballet growing up. I loved ballet, but there was a point in ballet where I really stopped being successful because I loved doing the bar exercises. I loved doing the things that were very measured and clear. But then when we would go to the center of the classroom and we would have these combinations we needed to do and learn how to do pirouettes, you learn how to do a pirouette, you have to fall down so many times and you have to look like they're hard to do. But I never learned how to do one properly because I was so reserved and I couldn't just let go and learn how to do it, which was so frustrating to me and so embarrassing. I ended up stopping doing ballet because I just could not be free. So I know that, so those are some good examples of how maybe I was reserved and really nervous, but I started to break out of that when I became friends with a gal, my best friend in high school. Her name was Kilee. And I really just was thinking about this week, and a lot of me breaking out of my shell, I would credit to her and her awesome example of being comfortable in her own skin. So Kilee and Kylie, we were like two peas in a pod. Everybody introduced us, Kilee and Kylie, and it was really cute. We both loved J. Crew. We both loved style and shopping, and we went to church together, and we had early morning seminary together, and we spent a lot of time together, but she was so much cooler than me. She really just did things that were so out of my comfort zone that really amazed me. So one thing that was important to her that she did was Taekwondo, and she was getting her black belt when we were a senior in high school. She was never afraid to be her full self. And so, she got a car when she turned 16. The first thing she did was put neon lights underneath it, like a racer car. And like no girl in high school had lights under their car. But I just remember being like, that is so cool. I'm so amazed that you did that. And because of her confidence in the things that she was doing, I felt so much more comfortable being myself too, and just trying goofy things and silly things. We did a Sadie Hawkins dance where we invited the boys, and that maybe it would have been out of my comfort zone, but because we were doing it together, it was really fun. We planned an awesome date. We made these tie-dye t-shirt or these splatter painted t-shirts that would glow in the neon lights at the dance. And, we thrift shopped for skirts, and I handmade my earrings, and I just got so much more comfortable in my own style because she was my best friend who was so cool and confident. That continued on as she was making her plans for college. Mine were very traditional, and she had decided she wanted to go to the Naval Academy and become a pilot. And so she threw her whole self into applying for the Naval Academy. She was not anything, you wouldn't look at Kilee and say, she's going to be for sure in the Naval Academy. Like, she's for sure going to make it. But she was so determined and so comfortable with her goals and her dreams that she went after it, and she totally did it. And so I remember her confidence gave me permission to lean into my authenticity. She had this inner sense of empowerment that really gifted me and gave me permission to be empowered and to be more myself. And that I really value that. That really was amazing. As I went to college, I spent time trying to step outside my comfort zone. I kind of took the chance to reinvent myself, and I did start doing a few things that were hard and were different for me and were new for me. But not all the things. That's definitely been a journey as I've gotten older and found that, even if something is hard, even if something takes a lot of work, or you have to fail or fall on your face or be really bad at it, it's worth it to push through it and achieve the things that you want to achieve. So recently I had the chance to sit down with a girl in high school who has been interning with us, and we have been so fortunate to be able to work with the high school and have an intern come and help us during the week. And it was really cool to sit down and be the one in the experience seat and to talk to her. And she and I had so much in common. When I was in high school, talking to her about her high school experience, I just said, wow, I identify with this. I know what it feels like to be reserved. I know what it feels like to be too nervous to speak up. I know what it feels like to not, just feel insecure and nervous, or to be ready to just get out of high school and be an adult because it's uncomfortable to be a teenager. And it was really refreshing to me to see that I had some experiences that could maybe help her, and I could talk to her in a way that was like, here's what I wish I would have known back then. Here's what I wish I would have done. I wish I would have stopped caring so much about what other people thought. And I wish I had a little more courage in really small ways to start breaking out of my shell sooner. And so she and I talked about being brave and what does that mean. And, I talked to her and I said, you don't have to be brave just to be brave. You don't have to try everything, and you can be really comfortable with yourself being reserved or being quiet. But if there's things you want to do and you're too afraid to do them, you're going to feel stuck. You're going to never feel quite like your real self. So I gave her examples of, there's a lot of things I want to do, but I'm nervous to do them. And there's a lot of things I don't want to do, and I'm nervous to do them. And that's okay. I don't ever have to do those things. So skydiving, roller coasters, no part of me wants to do that. And so I'm totally fine with it being terrifying to me. I don't ever want to do karaoke. That is not a fear I want to conquer. I don't want to go to outer space. I think outer space sounds terrifying, and like not being able to breathe. I don't ever want to enter a dance contest in public. Like those things would take a lot of courage, but I'm also fine with not doing them. But then I gave her a list of things that what I remember being in her spot, and even currently in my spot, where I wish I would have just tried because I did want to do those things. Something like joining a pickleball game or joining a volleyball game. Like I remember sitting on the sidelines and being like, I wish I was confident enough to just join in and not care. I see the people who are, and I'm not. Speaking on stage, getting comfortable being with public speaking. That is something I have wanted to do, but it's hard and it took stepping out of my comfort zone. Swimming laps, learning how to swim laps. Still not something I know how to do, but I do kind of wish I could. So maybe that's something I should go after. Right now I'm trying to get up the courage to prick my finger with like this little lancet for a food sensitivity test that I got in the mail. And I've put it off for 3 days now because I'm like, I don't want to jab my finger with this, but it's silly because I want the results. So of course I'm going to go through and do it. And so it was just really neat to be able to kind of encourage her and say, you know what, it just takes a little bit, like just try speaking up. Be the first person to raise your hand. Like those things will benefit you because they get you where you want to go and you're not held back by your fears. So, that's like a mouthful, an earful of advice, but it was cool to me to see empowered women empowering others in action. I had that with my friend in high school with Kilee. She empowered me and I started to come out of my shell. Now that I'm in the position I'm in and I've gone through lots of things, I really want to help the younger generation. That makes me seem old, but I really want to help her avoid or like start chipping away at that sooner because I've learned the benefits of it. And so, I think that saying is true. Empowered women empower other women. But other ways to say that would be like women who are comfortable with themselves give other women permission to be themselves. Women who chase after their dreams or go after the things they're excited about give other women the permission and the possibilities. And as I think about empowerment, I don't think it means like, and I've said this before, it doesn't mean every woman needs to go start a business or every woman needs to go work full time. Like that is not empowerment to me. Now, for some women, that's great. For me, that ended up being my story and part of where I'm at. But for me, it's really about like not being afraid to go after the thing that you're meant to do. What's your passion? And seeing other women do those things gives you the courage to do it yourself. So, courage is contagious. Totally true. And I think empowered women, empowered action, authentic, real action encourages and gives permission to other women to do the same thing. And that's the magic of it. I think men do it too, but I think the cool thing about women that I've seen is that they want to lift each other up. Women are teachers, they're nurturers, they're encouragers. They want to protect other people. And so when we as women get to a better place where we've learned something or we've struggled through something, we want to pass that on and help somebody else. And lots of times that's the kids, lots of times that's, students, but how cool is it if it's other women in our circles, if it's other women that we know that we are giving permission to live their best life because they see us doing the same thing. So as we celebrate, this month of Women's History, International Women's Day, I'm so thankful for the empowered women all along the years that have created this staircase and these stepping stones for me to be where I am. That's my mom, my grandma, and women in history. But there are so many women who had to stick their neck out. They were feeling like I have to be the first, and that gave somebody else the courage and the permission to do the same thing, which has led us to where we are today. So I'm really grateful for all of those examples in my life. And sometimes when I feel like it's hard to be in that spot where you're trying something new, or you're being the first in your family, or you're being the first in your circle of friends, that can feel lonely and it can feel hard. But if we look at it through this lens of, hey, I am empowering somebody else by being my full self, by being my authentic self, I'm giving that permission to somebody else. And I don't know who's watching, but who knows what a difference it could make. And we don't want to miss out on that opportunity to be able to pass on and have a legacy and have other people say, wow, because of your example or your authenticness or your realness, it really helped me go on my path and my journey too. So one other place that I've seen empowered women empower other women is really in our customer base. And I'm always so inspired by the women who are our customers and who wear our earrings and are so confident. We have a couple customers that really come to mind because I see them frequently in our Facebook group, and I've even met some of them in real life. But Donna is one customer that anyone who's in our BFF group knows Donna. Sue's another one. And they both are, I've met Donna in real life. We've met her on a trip, and she's from South Texas, around Houston, and she has the biggest, brightest, boldest personality. I mean, this woman can layer jewelry like you wouldn't believe. And she wears nickel and suede every day, and she posts in the group, and she's so encouraging. She never has a bad day. And, I remember meeting Donna in person for probably the second time and walking away being like, man, I hope every one of our customers can be as confident as Donna is when, I think Donna's a little bit older. I'm not sure, maybe in her 60s. But like when I get to that age in life, like she does not care what anybody thinks. And that's not in a bad way. It's in the most awesome way. Like she just genuinely cares about other people and is so encouraging and is so just totally confident in her own style. And I love it. It's so unique. Sue is another customer. She's probably she's the designated grandma in the group. She's an older customer, but she wears nickel and suede every day. And it's so fun to see her style every day. She posts an outfit photo, and to have that kind of confidence when a lot of women, I remember being nervous to post outfit photos at the beginning of my, career as a blogger, but it's so cool to see, that they are so comfortable and confident in themselves. And it's such, I think, an inspiration for the other women in the group to be like, okay, Donna and Sue, I love them. They're awesome. And they are 100% themselves. And maybe I can be too. Maybe that means there's room for me to be 100% myself too. And I just think that's one of the most valuable gifts we can give to somebody else. So if you want to be encouraged by Donna and Sue, you can join our BFF group on Facebook. But really, I think just being part of the nickel and suede community, wearing the earrings, like it really is about helping women be their best selves and, go after the best version of themselves. And I love that. That is such an important part to me about our brand. And it really pushes me to live that way myself every day. I need to go home and do that food sensitivity test. I need to, tackle some of these things and have that same viewpoint of, okay, if I want to do it, but I'm nervous, then I'm going to make myself do it. And I'm going to, little by little, continue to be my best self and be on that road. So hope that's encouraging. I hope that perspective really helps you maybe this week and this month as we celebrate women and celebrate the women in our lives and in history. Thanks for listening today. If you have not left a review yet on Apple, I would really encourage you to do it. That helps the podcast so much with being found and getting views and helping other people to find the With Kilee Nickels podcast. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening today to With Kilee Nickels. I hope that today you felt empowered to take one more step towards living the best version of you. Tune in next week for another episode. And in the meantime, you can find us elsewhere on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at Kilee Nickels and at Nickel and Suede. You can also find us at nickelandsuede.com. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.